Amadeo Bagnes Sieg. Er kommt ins Ziel.
Wahrscheinlich.
Bobsleigh, classe visti e matricola classe. Attention, everybody clears the back, please. 5 minutes till start. 5 minutes līdz startam.
To go once more. Ying Cheng of China, the race leader. And with Yin at the top of the pile are two of the athletes who finished in the leaders box at the end of last season's race. Matt Weston and Marcus Wyatt, all three in the medal positions at the moment. But behind them, it's going to be a very tight race. In the second heat, they go from 25 down to 1. And now, Felix Seibel, Jacob Salisbury, Felix Keisinger, they're all going to be squabbling to try and make it into the medals while Yen tries to win this race. First man up, Manuel Schwerzer of Italy, just managed to hold on in the top 25. First heat start, a 4.78, gets away in 4.74. So as we saw in the women's bobsleigh race a little earlier this morning, looks as though the start is getting just a whisker quicker as the day progresses. It might go the other way when we get into later in the afternoon, the second heat of the women's competition, but that will be for later. Schwerzer here, last week equalled his World Cup best in Lillehammer. And he raced here once on this track, February 2020, big hit. Oh dear, from 15 into 16. Taking the speed out of the sled, comes across the line with a 52.15, 51.73 in the first heat, so 4/10 slower. Well, he made it into the top 25, so he will fall no further than 25th, although not quite sure how that works with European Championships. Nobody else outside the top 25, even if they qualify for the European Championships, can improve. So I'm assuming that he does not slip any spots. More questions than answers. He's not alone in that. In the field of 36, some of the 25 who got through probably couldn't tell you how they did it. Next up, Alexander Schlindner. 26 last week. 15th World Cup race for him. Best was in of his previous races here. 14th in November 2020, 26th in December 2021. Didn't race here last season. 4.75 getaway, exactly what he managed in the first heat. And he was 1100s ahead of Manuel Schwerzer. And he was 1500s behind the next slider, Blake Enzie. So a little way in no man's land, but on this track, you could give away a lot more than 1500s of a second just with one skid somewhere between 14 and finish line. Out of 14, little tap dancing, 3/10 up though on Manuel Schwerzer. So this is going a little better for Alexander Schlindner. He might pick off one here, possibly even two. Good bottom half, hits the wall unfortunately, but leads by a second, 51.26 off a 51.62 first run. So 4600s better, rather than 3600 worse, which was Manuel Schwerzer's fate. Still not happy. I think there's a lot of sliders leave here not happy. So little time in a World Cup weekend to really dial yourself into a track that you don't know well. Just 6 runs in training over 2 days, so not really a lot of thinking time on each of the training days either. Not much time for analysis. Yeah. Next up, Blake Enzie of Canada. His advantage after the first heat over our current leader, Alexander Schlindner, just 1500th of a second. In his World Cup debut on this track in December 2021. 20th here last season. His World Cup best is 18th from that first race. 4.76 getaway. Exactly what he started in the first heat. So maybe our first starter, Manuel Schwerzer, just found a little more in himself. Blake Enzie dragging a toe into corner 4, keeping it clean. 1500s up at the start, 1500s up now, big height. Out of 11. Ooh. It's the wall going into 13 to 14. Drifting down the straight. Going to drop behind here. Hasn't got the speed on board. Oh, this is a big fall as well. There's a second between first and second right now, and he is halfway down that gap. 51.91 for Blake Enzie. He will be no worse than 24th. Chances are not much better, though. Well, funny how picking an athlete off makes Alexander Schlentner feel a little less awful about his second heat. Blake Enzie won't have enjoyed his second heat. Big height there, whipping down from 11 into 12, 12 to 13, and then 13 to 14. If you're late on one of them out of corner 10, you're going to be late on all of them. And then you end up spearing up towards the roof and having to try and rescue it on each of the exits. All right, there you go. Another one done and dusted. 2 more World Cup races to go and the World Championship still this season. Next up, Daniel Barefoot did a good job from 24th best start to make it into the field in 22nd spot. 482, finds 300s with his first start. Neatly down from 1 to 2. Smoothly out of corner 6 into the lower labyrinth. Oh. It's the wall out of 14. Working really hard there. Second best speed. Is he going to stay ahead of Alexander Schlentner? Can he catch him at the line? It's going to be close. Not close enough. No, 1200's back. 51.58. So Alexander Schlentner, yes, a little less disappointed with his second heat now. He's picked off Blake Enzie and Dan Barefoot. Now, of course, he hasn't moved up any rankings yet in the World Cup, in the European Championships standings, because these two guys wouldn't have counted anyway. 11, early height, big toe drag, and then trying to get off clean into 12. Little short shoot down to corner 12, coming out late. And then out of 14, again, straight across the track into the wall on the exit. So all of those taking the speed out of the sled that he needed to keep his position. He slips one. 4 down, 21 sleds to go as we get to Van Boef. Out of our Swiss sliders, he did make it through. Livio Summermatter, 27th after the first heat, does not get a second run. Van Sands does. 22 years of age, Junior World Championship bronze medalist a couple of weeks ago. And a 487 getaway compared to 489 in the first heat. 300th helps. Quite a neat and tidy looking run the first of our 2 heats. Tackled corner 4 just then and quiet. There's a little bit of scraping, that tends to be the helmet. If there's a lot, it tends to be the feet. The long scratches like that tend to be the feet, the toes dragging. Out of 14. This is pretty clean. He's got enough of a lead. He's building it. Best speed so far. So he is going to take the lead from Alex Schlentner. 2100 up. This could be a quarter second and more by the line. Hits the wall, but it is 0.3 faster. 51.22 compared to 51.36 in the first heat. So he takes the lead from Alexander Schlentner. Yeah, breathless stuff. This is really a roller coaster switchback ride, this track. never quiet for a moment. Even here out of 14, the two long straights, 14 to 15 and 15 to 16, are so busy.
Ja, statt Sigulda.
All right, 5 down, Van Sandsbroek leads, 20 sleds still to come. Race 6 of the Men's Skeleton World Cup. Sigulda, Latvia, 20th place after the first of our two heats. Did not exist because we had a tie for 19th. Kim Ji-soo tied the time of Yan Wengang of China, so it is Kim of Korea who goes first. They're 91 hundredths off the lead. The sled ahead of them 9 tenths off the lead. The one ahead of them 89 hundredths, then 86, then 80. You get the picture. We are now going basically from 20th down to 6th with barely more than a couple of hundredths between any of the sleds, and sometimes less than that. So a good second heat could really accelerate him up the leaderboard. That's the truth of pretty much all of the next 10 sleds plus. Ooh, working hard in 11. And that big advantage might start to shrink. Yeah, from 65 to 37 hundredths. Drop 3 tenths. And all of that disappearing speed is going to make it hard for him to really move up the leaderboard. Across the line, 800s back, does not even hold his spot. 51.15 in the first heat, 51.51 in the second. That came unraveled in a hurry for Kim Ji-soo. A little smile in the leader's box from Switzerland's Van Sandsbroek. Well, you could see the big dramatic leg splay there, really working hard in 11. And from then on, it's just not quite a crash fest, but boy, the corners come at you so fast. There is no room to adjust. He's late everywhere. And 6 tenths of a second disappeared to be 800ths behind.
Next on the start, welcome.
Yan Wengang of China set the 19th best time in the first heat. We just set the man who matched him, Kim Ji-soo, go from 21 hunds over our current leader to 3,600 up and end up 800 back. Can Yan hold on, or does Van Sandsbroek get himself a top 20 finish? Well, Buff will 20th, no worse. 472 start for Yan Wengang, 471 in the first heat. He too is building an early advantage. 3,600. Oh, and again working hard in 11. In best speed, still working very hard for a living though. What's the gap now? 3,200. Somehow he's hanging on. It's looking a little bit like Ying Ching's run that took the lead in the first heat. Lots of work. But the sled absolutely flying. 1,700s, he'll have the lead by not much. 51.37. Wow. Well, he will be no worse than 19th. Van Sandsbroek does get a top 20 finish, though. Van Sandsbroek was 14th in Lillehammer, his World Cup best finish. Ooh, overran that a bit. His right hand came down only just getting the front of the saddle. And here out of 14, again, a little bit like Yin Cheng, tap dancing everywhere, but clearly they've got a tiny contact patch on the runners this morning, and he somehow kept the speed up. Next up, we get to the first of our German sliders, Axel Jung, in 18th place after the first heat. And that is just 100th in hand over Yan Wengang, our current leader. Axel, 10th place here last year. He has had one 8th place finish on this track, but that is his best so far. He's a long way from that in the first run. Although he's in this massive logjam of sliders, that tap into four isn't going to help. He needs an absolutely stunning second heat. try and pick up a handful of spots. Best speed so far. Looked a lot more in control there in corner 11. Now, that might be a good thing. That might be a bad thing. It might mean he's got too much of a contact patch. 2400s up becomes 1900. Second best speed. Van Sensburg fastest down at the bottom. We should see Axel Jung into the lead by more than 100 for Jan Wengang. 2700s more than 100, 51.10. Now that would have been 16th and not 18th in the first heat, so not an enormous improvement, but an improvement all the less. Only 400ths of a second better. But as I said, this group of sleds coming up, the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe, so close. It's a decent enough exit until you see the big impact with the wall. When he hits it so hard that his helmet actually bounces off the wall, you know there's a lot of energy coming out of the sled. Yeah. He'll be happy dead to Altenburg in 2 weeks. That'll be home ice for him. Sammy Meyer of Austria next. What am I doing? There you go. Look, here we go. This is the next 100th of a second. And in 3/10 from Yang Wengang and Kim Ji-soo tied for 19th to get to Mattia Gaspari in 9th. So this is a massively tight pack. 15 down to 20. And again, if Sammy Meyer can find 500s even in the run, that could move him up a couple of spots. And this can start 4:77, was a couple of hundreds slower, not ideal. Losing 700s to Axel Jung in the start alone, and he was only 100th in front after the first heat that they had. Third best speed. Sammy needs to be very clean down the bottom. He was a bit giddy out of 14 and then 15. That's better. 600s back, best speed of all. This is his gliding heritage. Into the lead. I think he's got enough to take it to the line and have the lead. He does by 500ths of a second. So multiplies his advantage by 5 times. 51.06. Well, 51.13 in the first heat, so still not quite the enormous margin. But again, 500s quicker in the first heat would have left him 2 spots further up, nearly. Well, that's a decent enough exit out of 14.
Hi, an alle daheim und die draußen fürs Anfeuern. Vielen Dank.
All right, let's get into 16th place. Lucas Defaye. Well, whatever else happens, his start in the first heat was nothing like the drama of Lillehammer when going over the crest, his sled popped out of the start groove, popped the spur, as we say, and he ended up going into turn 1 backward, trying to wrest himself back onto the sled. Let's see what he's got here. 478 in the first heat. Does he give it a bit more beans in second? 476. Yes, he does. Feeling just that little bit more confident with his start. Well, Lucas, first out of the start shed this morning. Best result here in Sigulda was 19th place. And in Altenburg last season, he got a 17th place finish. He's drifting away though. He's not going to stay in the lead. He's going to drop 3, maybe 4 places here. Across the line, 3 places back. 51.25 run, so Sammy Meyer stays in the leader's box. That's a real shame for Lucas. He was on target for a World Cup best result. Now lying third with 15 to go. So he'll be no worse than 18th, which is a PB here in Sigulda at least. He was looking on target for a moment there to beat his best from Altenburg last year. Well, that was a smaller field than this. So I think he's probably still on very much of an upward trajectory. Lucas Onioni's 9th World Cup start. So Sammy Meyer leads from Axel Jung and Lucas de Faye. We have 15 to go. One of the Ukrainian athletes in the first of our heats, Vladislav Hereskevich, is nephew. First cousin wants to remove, second cousin, not sure. Yaroslav Lavrenyuk, I'm going to have to look it up. Mikhail's father said nephew. So that would mean Mikhail's his son. Yeah, Mikhail is his uncle, so is his nephew. Okay. Vladislav Hereskevich, anyway. 4.90 first start, 4.85 second start. And again, in this massive battle, he knows that every 100th is going to count. Sammy Meyer started 4.77, so Vlad is on the back foot at the moment. Speed so far, though, bringing the gap back to the Austrian. It's going to be close. Where does he get in front? Up 14, here we go. Nice run into 15. Good height, good at it. Not too much of a skid into 16. This will give him the lead now. How much will it move him up the order? 400 to 109. There's Yaroslav Lavrenyuk along with Mikhail Hereskevich at the top of the track. So Vladislav Hereskevich of the Ukraine keeps himself in the lead. Will be no worse than 15th here. Previous best is one of his World Cup best ever result, 6th place finish. He's had 4 6th place finishes, Vladislav, and one of them came here. Next up, Amedeo Bagnes of Italy. Well, Amedeo, 13th equal in last year's race with Florian Auer. Auer did not make the cut for the second heat. Amedeo did today in 14th place off the second best start. 4.62 is another strong start. He started 4.57 in first heat. Oh, sliding and tapped into 5, into 4, out of corner 6. Watch the feet. So much work going on this track from everybody. Decent out of 11. Still long toe drag though into 13. Again, from 14 to 15, dragging those toes. 5th best speed. Still a good-looking run though from Amedeo Bagnes. Better than his first heat by a margin. 3600ths up. So 50.75 and a 51.04, 2900ths of a second of improvement. That felt better, apart from the dismount, maybe.
Oops.
50.75 is the 5th fastest run of the day so far in this men's skeleton field. That would have left him 200ths off the tie for 4th place if he'd produced that in the first heat. But you know, consistency is everything. What it probably means though is that he might hang out in the leaders box for a while. Now here is Jung Seung-gui of Korea, our World Cup points leader up until the last couple of races. And Jung, 3 World Cups here. December 2021, he was 3rd. His best result, 4.52, another strong start, 4.56 in the first heat. So he's got a 1/10 of a second added to his 100th advantage from the first heat over Amedeo Bagnes. 2 tenths back. 2 tenths up, rather. Ooh, but it's half now, and the speed's not there. He's scrabbling out of 11. You hear the toes all the way down through 13 and 14, and he is going to hemorrhage time here. Might end up behind Vladislav Heraskevich, 3600s back. I think he's going to be third, maybe fourth at the line. It is not fourth, it is fifth at the line. Went from 2 tenths up to 5 tenths back. A 51-24 disaster. Well, Jung, this is clearly not a track that he's going to rate among his favourites. Working really hard in 11. We heard it as well as saw it. Legs everywhere. Late out of 11, late onto 12, late onto 13, late onto 14, late out of 14. And by that stage, any hope of a good run had gone. Now then, what about Rasmus Johansson from Denmark? 12th place after the first heat. 400s his advantage over Amadeo Banyas. So again, he's going to need a big run here just to stay in the top 12. Had an exceptional weekend last week, finished in 7th in Lillehammer off a potential podium first heat. 471 the getaway. 300ths of a second quicker at the start, but not as quick as Amadeo Banyas. All of Amadeo's speed carried with him right the way down the track. 5th best speed for Rasmus Johansson. A little bit of toe steering going on here. This could still leave him in second place, only the 6th best speed. Gliding nicely now. Where's he going to be at the lines? Second behind Banyas. Yes, he is. 400ths ahead of Vladislav Heraskevich of Ukraine. So only just squeaked in, losing 1 spot.
71.
All right, so dropping a spot there. And Amadeo Banyas remains in the leader box. Amadeo may stay there another sled or two. Again, it's 10 to 14, 10 to 15, which is causing so many problems. Even when you get cleanly onto 11 sometimes from 10, there's a lot of scrabbling to get out. Craig Thompson from Great Britain. Craig with the enormous margin of 500ths of a second in hand over 500ths over Amadeo Banyas. And actually in this part of the field, that was 4 places up the leaderboard. 11th place in the first heat. Can he shoot for a top 10? Only 900ths out of the top 10. And the second lower part of the track was not great for him in the first. If he can tidy that up even a fraction, he could be doing well. 461 from 459 in the first heat. 900ths up. Nice, smooth, quiet run so far. This is good. Only the 5th best speed. Comes nicely out of 11 though. And if he can stitch these together, even with a little bit of a toe drag, he could have a shot. 1200s back. British fans aren't going to be doing enough there. Only the 10th best speed. Amadeo Banyas will remain in the leader's box, and Craig is going to drop to second, maybe third, second at the line. 300ths in front of Rasmus Johansson. .51.09 compared to 50.99. Tenth slower in the second run. There's that look from Coach Matthias Guggenberger that goes, guys, you're not listening to what I'm telling you. Well, the GB sliders know the track well. They've all had a number of World Cups here, but they do pre-season training here as well. Now that they're in this sled program with Matthias Guggenberger and the Ducours family. Amadeo Banias leads, 10 to go. Austin Florian of the USA, 10th place in the first heat. 3 World Cups here, 19th, 24th and 16th. So this is a substantial step forward for him, and on real PB form, and only 500s away from 9th. Let's see what he's got. 4:55 getaway. That's a very quick start again from Austin Florian. And it's the fastest start of the competition so far. 2,700s up over the second fastest starter. That was Amadeo Banias. I beg your pardon, that was Jules Jungwei in the first heat. Austin building the advantage to 2,700s, coming down a fraction now. Don't forget, Amadeo Banias was nice and clean here. That's a great exit from 14. He's going to keep most of the speed alive. Fastest man so far. Top 10 guaranteed here, I think, for Austin Florian. That's a really good run and a massive Sigulda PB. That is going to earn a big piece of cake in Mr. Biscuit's post-race. Yes, you can hear his joy. Woo! Let's go. Fastest start of the competition, and a 50.47 is the 3rd fastest run of the competition in both heats so far. That would have left him 400ths of silver in the first heat. That is a massive PB for Austin Florian, start and downtime.
Let's go. Let's move up some.
Yes. Well, he might just do, because the next man, Mattia Gaspari, only had 500ths of a second in hand over our current leader, Austin Florian, from the first of the 2 heats. Mattia's best result here, a 10th place finish. So his first round 9th was a PB. Let's see if he can hang on there. .484. Up against the 4:55 of Austin Florian. Already 2,900s slower at the start, so 2,400s back. He's going to have to really drive nicely. He had a good first heat. It was smooth, it was quiet. Can't hear any toes here at all now. There's the first toe steer, and a little out of 11. This is really nice looking stuff. But he's not finding the speed. Maybe adjusted the sled to get a little bit more control. 3rd speed, he's not going to catch Austin Florian, but he might be ahead of his teammate, Amadeo Banias. I think he's going to be 3rd at the line. He is 3rd at the line. 100th behind Amadeo. That's tough. That is tough.
Quanto spinto?
Well, 484, 200s quicker at the start, but came down 100th behind his teammate Amadeo Banias to slip into 3rd. Well, he was 11th here. Mattia in the last 2 World Cup races. He's 3rd with 8 to go. So it might be 11th for his 3rd year in a row. His best is 10th, so if anybody slips a couple of places, or 4, then could match that again. Christopher Groothair now. Groothair, the bronze medalist last year on this track. His only medal in Sigulda. Olympic champion, 2-time world champion. Last year's European silver medalist. Not going to match that, I don't think. Not going to be in the medals today. 474. He started 475 in the first heat. But Austin Florian, again, starting 1900s quicker. And so any first heat advantage wiped out immediately, and that speed deficit early on is going to take a lot of smooth sliding to compensate for. Good into 11, whipping into 13 nicely. Well, he's stopped losing time. No, he hasn't. Losing more time still. Only the 7th best speed. He might fall down a couple of spots. Amadeo Banias, 42 hundredths off the lead, and he is just ahead of him by 7 hundredths. But Austin Florian continuing to ride up the leaderboard. We're in real PB territory for Austin Florian, our current leader here in Sigulda. Last year's bronze medalist in 2nd place with still 7 to go. Well, next time he races in the World Cup, it'll be Altenburg, the scene of his 2 consecutive World Championship gold medals. So I think he'll be possibly feeling a little happier there than here. Christopher Grote here, slipping behind our leader, Austin Florian. I don't think Grote here is necessarily going to be the last to do so either.
Schöne Grüße nach Hause.
Looking a little deflated. Now then, Chen Wenhao of China, 7th, 1/10 in hand over the man who was 10th in the first heat, Austin Florian. But Florian finding nearly 45 hundredths of a second of an improvement. And that means that Chen needs to be a third of a second quicker just to stay where he is. 4:65 at the start, 4:67 in the second heat, in the first heat rather. So he already loses his entire lead over Austin Florian just in the start. And again, because Austin had better momentum, that gap continues to grow. Now he's turning it around. Best speed for 10 to 11. And whatever Dirk Matchen suggested as a setup for today does seem to be working. 700s, the gap's growing again though. Florian was very quick at the bottom. Is Chen going to get there? I don't think so. He's not. 50.70. 6 to go, and Austin Florian still leads. This could be a very good move up the order for Austin Florian. American's best ever result on this track, 16th place. He leads with 6 to go. And Chen, it was close. It was close. He was a 10th better than his first run. Well, that was still 23 hundredths shy of where he needed to be. All right, and the next sled, Felix Kaisinger, 6th place. This is for what's known as the wider podium. Top 6 go into the wider podium. Austin Florian, 66 hundredths off the lead in the first heat. Kaisi, 5,300. So just 1,300 in hand. He is a quick starter, 4:65 first heat. 4:59, that's an improvement, but not as quick still as Austin Florian, who was 4:55. So the lead is tiny. Nice and quiet so far. Great form from Kaisi. Tiniest steer in 11. 300s up, should have good speed here. Ooh. Out of 14, 500s in it, hits the wall. 5th best speed. Bit of toe steering there to avoid being too high in 15. He's level. I think he's going down. Oh, by 100. Oh. Just hold on with 5 to go. So in the top 6 for Felix Kaisinger, returning to full-time World Cup sliding this season after a couple of seasons away. 5 previous World Cups, all top sixes, so that's now 6 top sixes in a row. His best here, a silver medal in November 2020. Behind Martin Stukurs, of course, and ahead of Alexander Gassner. So Kaisi leads from Austin Florian and Chen Wenhao. 5 to go. 400s ahead of our current leader was a tie for 4th place. Jacob Salisbury and Felix Seibel. Salisbury goes first. Let's see what he's got. First start, 4:57, 4:58 in the second. Neat and tidy early on. But his 500s over Felix Eisinger is down to 0. He's going to have to drive himself in. 12th best speed. If that's right, then he is going to sink like a stone. Chen Wenhao in 3rd is only 1400s back. And is this Jacob Salisbury dropping out of the leader's box? Out to a 10th back. 5th best speed. Helmet on the ice. And lock-to-toe steering as well. There's the helmet dragging all the way through 16 at the line, 1700s back. Well, Jacob Salisbury drops out of a tie for 4th place, and he is currently 4th with 4 to go. It's his first World Cup here. His World Cup best in Lillehammer was a 10th place, so he'll feel disappointed of not being able to try and move up into the medals. That is still a personal best in World Cup racing. That will be top 8 guaranteed. He's 4th with 4 to go. So despite the fact that he's now feeling crestfallen, that is his best World Cup race so far in just 6 starts. Felix Seibel, also his 6th World Cup. Bronze last week in Lillehammer, his first individual World Cup medal. He had a team bronze medal in the mixed skeleton team race in St. Moritz. One previous race weekend here, Intercontinental Cup in December 2021. Tied for 4th with Jacob Salisbury. So needs a strong start. 4:77 is not the strongest of starts. It is quicker than his first. But don't forget, Kaisi started 4:59. So 1800s of a second quicker. And there was only 400s between them. Seibel really flowed beautifully in the first heat. Really only his 2nd race weekend here. If he can replicate that, he'll be doing a really strong job. The gap is out to 1/4 of a second, now to 3/10 of a second. Felix Seibel is not going to move up. 3rd best speed. He could drop 4 places here. Could be down to 5th at the line. It is 5th at the line behind Jacob Salisbury. Felix Eisinger leads with 3 to go. Well, for Seibel and Salisbury, relatively newcomers to the track. And again, he's banging a helmet on the ice, so to bash the helmet against his nose. The nosebleeds had started again for Felix Seibel. And he's no Cyrano de Bergerac. So that shows how much he's keeping his head tucked down where he can, and how the G-force is pretty extreme on this track. All right, well, he drops down to 5th with 3 to go, so it will still be a top 8 finish. Jacob Salisbury, 4th place, no worse than 7th now. Next up, we have 2 podium finishers from last year. This is Matt Weston, last year's European Championship gold medalist. These are the European Championships. Last year's winner here in Sigulda. 3rd after the first heat, 3600s out of the lead. And 1700s ahead of Eisinger. 4:61 start. Now, it was all about the lower part of the track again for Matt Weston. If he can tidy that up, With friends and family here watching again, he could grab another medal on this track. He's only had one medal here in Sigulda, and that was gold last year. Gap continues to open up. Now it's chopping down 1500s, but he's pretty clean here. Only the 6th best speed should have enough in the tank for the medals. It might be close. How close is he at the line? 2/10 up. He did have enough. 50.56. He's guaranteed a medal. Felix Kaisinger in 2nd place. Austin Florin in 3rd. Congratulations there from 12 times European champion Martin Stuckers.
Got a medal.
Yeah, got a medal. Not the best of heats, not the best first heat. 50.56, only 400s better, but he's in the medals again this season. Matt Weston, always a better.
Hi everyone back home, still not perfect, but you know, every week.
7 wins, 2 silvers, 2 bronzes. Now, Marcus Wyatt is the only man in the field who has had 2 medals on this track. Bronze in race 2, 2021, and silver last year. He is lying in 2nd place. His advantage over his teammate Matt Weston from the first heat, 1700s of a second, I can't read. Starts 4:58, that's a strong getaway. So lies down 2/10 in front of Matt Weston. Now, this could put pressure on Yincheng of China, our first heat leader. Marcus Wyatt looking to equal his personal best on this track. This is nice and smooth so far. The gap is coming down a little to Matt Weston. Needs the clean run from here. He's got one. Good exit out of 14. Good speed. Good exit out of 15. This is going to keep his chance of a win alive. Little tack going into 16 and across the line. A 50.57. All right. 100th slower than Matt Weston. And 1400 slower than his first heat, but he takes at least a silver medal. British 1-2 with 1 to go, and that is the new European champion. Because our final slider is Chinese, so Marcus Wyatt is the 2024 European champion. That's a huge result for Marcus Wyatt. The first British European champion since Matt Weston last year. And that is his first European Championship medal.
Come on, let's
the
go.
last Briton to be the European champion in 2008, Dr. Ice, Kristen Bromley. Now then, Yincheng. A superb, if slightly wild first heat, could become only the 2nd Chinese slider to win a World Cup medal. Could be the first to win it on his own. First heat leader off a 4:59 start, 4:57. He knows he needs that speed. Sixth place here is his best result in 3 World Cups. 1600s, the gap over Wyatt coming down. 1300s, speed is not great. Now, he was really fast at the bottom of the track. That's what made the difference. It looked kind of wild, but somehow it worked. 1300, hanging on. Yincheng on his way to victory. Oh, big steer out of 15. Has he got enough in the tank? We'll know at the line. It should be enough for gold. It is enough for gold. Yincheng wins for China. Mark Wyatt, the silver medal and the European champion, and bronze and European silver for Matt Weston. 50.58, 100 slower than Marcus Wyatt on that run. But it was the first run that gave him that extra couple of steps on the field, and Yin wins for China.
跑了4秒57，我记得是。
Gong Wenchang, the only other Chinese skeleton athlete to have won a race. Three-way tie in Innsbruck a couple of years ago with Matt Weston and Christopher Grotehair, 3 years ago now. And Yen Cheng is the winner in Sigulda. Of all the places to take a victory, not in Beijing, the track they know so intimately, but here is Sigulda. That is a great sign of a driver. He feels this sled. Didn't crack under pressure. Great start from Yin Cheng of China. So Yin is our first time winner. Marcus Wyatt, the European champion, ahead of Matt Weston, and Felix Eisinger takes his second European bronze medal, his last coming back in 2020, behind Martins and Thomas Ducours. So Yin Cheng, Marcus Wyatt and Matt Weston, your podium, the wider podium. Felix Eisinger, Austin Florian, 5th from 10th in the first heat, and Chen Wenhao just ahead of Jacob Salisbury in 7th. So Salisbury just missing out on that wider podium by 300s, ahead of Felix Seibel, Christopher Grotehair and Amadeo Banyas. And Banyas again, he too came up the order a little after his first heat, where he finished only in 14th spot. So plenty of changing around up and down the leaderboard. That is your World Cup result. And once we take out the non-European nations, although Yin Cheng will remember this for a long while, his first ever World Cup win. European Championship won by the silver medalist here, Marcus Wyatt of Great Britain. And it's those championship results that so often help to unlock a little bit of funding. The race win is lovely for Yin Cheng, and that will certainly bring him a lot of kudos back home in China. But in European Championships, gold and silver for Great Britain, with Matt Weston in silver behind Marcus Wyatt. The World Cup rankings, Christopher Grotehair still has the yellow jersey. Matt Weston in 2nd, ahead of Jung Sung-gui, and Yin Cheng moving up to 4th place, ahead of Craig Thompson. Wenhao, Marcus Wyatt in 9th position, just ahead of young Felix Seibel. Not the season to write home about for Axel Jung. He'll want to turn that around in 2 weeks' time. We're racing in Altenburg. So Yin Cheng, last year's Push World Champion, is our newest race winner in the World Cup. You can see just how big our fields have been. 36 starters here today. More than 40 athletes who have started races this season in the World Cup. And there's so many because the Intercontinental Cup, the second tier of sliding, has been abolished. And so there are many more spots open on World Cup. And other athletes will be competing in the North America Cup and the Europe Cup. And I gather, as from next year, potentially an Asia Cup as well. There is your overall podium. Yin Cheng takes his first win. Marcus Wyatt, the silver, bronze for Matt Weston, and the European champion on the left-hand side, Marcus Wyatt, the silver medalist, Matt Weston, bronze going to Felix Eisinger. So all of the European sliders from the European nations will be ranked in order in the European Championships. Marcus Wyatt takes first European Championship medal, it's a gold. Matt Weston, last year's champion, is the silver medalist. Felix Eisinger, the bronze, ahead. Jacob Salisbury, Felix Seibel, and Christopher Grotehair. Amadeo Banyas and Mattia Gaspari, 7th and 8th, 100th apart. Craig Thompson takes 9th in the Europeans, and behind him, Rasmus Johansson of Denmark, a top 10 European Championship finish. Good news indeed for him. Had a day at the office for Lucas Bayer than he had in Lillehammer. Vincent Buff had a good second heat as well to move himself up the order. And Alexander Schlender and Manuel Schwertz are both getting second heats. finishing just outside the top 15. But there is your European Championship podium. Marcus Wyatt. Not an overall race winner, but the European champion, and that is a big, big deal indeed. All right, that's it. Men's skeleton returns in 2 weeks in Altenburg in Saxony. But this afternoon, we continue our action with the women's skeleton. That'll be on air at 1500 local, 1300 GMT, 0800 Eastern. And that is in 1 hour and 7 minutes from now. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Axel.